A very good evening to you, beloved viewer, and welcome to Newswatch on Hope TV, where you look and live. It is a pleasure to be back on your screen this 26th of October 2022. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. We are streaming live on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Hope TV Kenya. Welcome. Members of Parliament have approved the nomination of all the 24 cabinet nominees, including Tourism Cabinet Secretary nominee Penina Malonza, who had earlier been rejected by the Committee on Appointments on the basis that she did not show a grasp of the issues in the docket. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, with the approval, President William Ruto is now free to formally appoint the CSs to immediately take up their roles after swearing in.
The National Assembly has on Wednesday approved all the 24 cabinet nominees unveiled by President William Ruto on the 27th of September, including Tourism CS nominee Penina Malonza, who had earlier been rejected by the Committee on Appointments on the basis that she lacks requisite experience and abilities to serve in the docket.
Which is that pursuant to the provisions of Articles 152(2) of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza OGW as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
The House Committee on Appointments was, however, divided over the nominations of the Public Service CS nominee Aisha Jumwa and Agriculture CS nominee Mithika Linturi, with the minority side rejecting the nominees over integrity concerns.
But, Mr. Speaker, looking at this cabinet in totality, I have my fears. We are approving, if we do approve, we are approving a cabinet that is not so competent.
Some of us have been taken through DCI 9 times, Mr. Speaker, left free, and even today none of our cases have we have never been charged, but 9 times dragged through the DCI offices. Mr. Speaker, it's not fair that members who are seated here, who knew how the regime that was there operated.
Mr. Speaker, this House must put its foot down, and for us to approve these nominees, they must know that this House has the powers to approve them and recall them, impeach them.
President William Ruto now has the go-ahead to formally appoint the CSs, who will take their oath of office and immediately take up their roles.
As members of that opinion say aye. Aye.
Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Ayes have it.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that report. Now, President William Ruto has promised to enhance Kenya's bilateral ties with the Spanish government. Ruto has pledged to tackle damages brought about by climate change by planting 5 billion trees in the next 5 years and 10 billion trees in 10 years. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, after welcoming a delegation from Spain, including Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, President Ruto noted that the initiative will aid in combating the ravaging drought and has put lots of lives at risk. On his part, Prime Minister Sanchez noted that he is committed to work with Kenya and bolster their bilateral ties.
A hot debate ensued at the National Assembly over the qualification of cabinet nominees, especially over the unanimous rejection of Penina Malonza as Tourism and Wildlife nominee and contention of the appointment of Agriculture nominee Mithika Linturi and Public Service and Gender nominee Aisha Jumwa.
I want to support when I see a lady like Wahome, somebody who can demonstrate what she's thinking about in terms of water. But can we say that of that one Malonza? My answer is no. If you cannot demonstrate the vision you have, then you do not know what you want to go and do. Some of us have come from corporate sectors whereby some people have been working there and you never hear them talking. This lady was a deputy governor. And what we need to ask ourselves is, Kitui County, did it perform during our time or it failed? Those are the pertinent questions which we need to be asking ourselves.
The politicians were speaking, and therefore when they faced a person who is not a very accomplished politician, they had a halo effect. And therefore I think she doesn't need to be completely ruled out as a person who can work, but I believe she needs to be given a chance. I'm looking forward to possibly somebody moving an amendment that as we discuss this particular debate, we should just be discussing it together with amendment that this Malonza be included in the cabinet.
I have my fears. We are approving, if we do approve, we are approving a cabinet that is not so competent. We are approving a cabinet that I think the mindset of the appointing authority was not on service delivery. This is not a cabinet that is going to bring economic revolution in this country. This is not a cabinet that is going to have Kenya take off from a middle-income economy. This is a cabinet that lacks competence, integrity in many aspects.
However, in the end, all 24 cabinet nominees were approved, and as a consequence, 4 sitting legislators, Kandara MP Alice Wahome, Elgeyo Marakwet Kipchumba Murkomen, nominated Senator Saipan Tuya, and Garissa Township MP Aden Duale submitted their resignation to their respective speakers in preparation for their cabinet secretary roles.
Asante sana, Bwana Speaker.
While giving their exit speeches, the legislators said they were excited for their new roles and hope to work with the MPs to execute their duties well.
To the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, I am forever grateful. To my family, Mr. Speaker, my wife and my 4 little children, Mr. Speaker, I am forever grateful. To my family, my parents, who struggled through tough times in life, to educate me and give me this opportunity to reach this far, I am forever grateful. And to the President who nominated me to be a Cabinet Secretary, I want to tell the President I will serve this country with great humility and great honor, and I thank him for trusting me to serve the people of Kenya.
I know and I think that Parliament has many times lost good opportunities to stamp its authority, to be able to check the executive. And as I join the executive, I would still expect that Parliament will continue to do its work. Mr. Speaker, that Parliament will continue to put the executive in check so that then we can be able to deliver on the promises, on the plan that our government has talked about.
I excelled at it as some of the few ranking members, led by you, who was the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and Honorable John Bandi, who served in the 10th Parliament, can bear witness. That position bore fruit. In 2013, I moved a step closer to actualizing my dream when I was appointed the first leader of majority in the Kenya National Assembly.
Following their resignation, their seats will be declared vacant, whereby the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) will announce vacancies in their respective offices, leaving room for by-elections to fill the vacancies. So far, the IEBC has announced that by-elections to fill the Bungoma senatorial gap left by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and 5 wards will be conducted on 8th December 2022. The approval of the cabinet nominees now paves way for the cabinet members to be sworn to office as per the Constitution. The new entry of the cabinet nominees should see a change of trajectory in the implementation of crucial promises to Kenyans by President William Ruto.
But I look forward to coming back here anytime I am somebody, Mr. Speaker.
Grace Ongoi for OPTV News Watch.
Well, we apologize for that mix-up in bites. That story was about Kipchumba Murkomen and Garissa Township Member of Parliament Aden Duale, who submitted their resignation letters to their respective speakers following approval of their names for cabinet positions. Let us now revisit that story that I had earlier introduced on Kenya-Spain relations. President William Ruto has promised to enhance Kenya's bilateral ties with the Spanish government. Ruto has pledged to tackle damages brought by climate change by planting 5 billion trees in the next 5 years and 10 billion trees in 10 years. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, after welcoming a delegation from Spain, including Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, President Ruto noted that the initiative will aid in combating the ravaging drought that has put lots of lives at risk. On his part, Prime Minister Sanchez noted that he is committed to work with Kenya and bolster their bilateral ties.
The invitation you have extended to me to come to Spain, I will, in an affirmative way, respond to that invitation, and maybe sometimes next year. Ahead of my coming, we have agreed that at the ministerial level, we will have an engagement in Spain, and my Minister for Foreign Affairs will come with our business fraternity so that we can have a business engagement between the private sector in Kenya, the private sector in Spain, and be able to work on a common ground of how we can leverage on this good relationship to build the economies of our countries for the mutual benefit of our two countries. Your Excellency, again, on behalf of the people of Kenya and the government of Kenya, I welcome you and your delegation to our country. I know you still...
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has unveiled his 10-member cabinet, sending home all ministers who served in the administration of his predecessor, Anne Kananu, except 2. The list of nominees was submitted to the Speaker of the County Assembly in a letter dated October 26th.
You will also realize that we've changed the dockets, the naming, as well as the mandate for better execution of service delivery to the people of Nairobi. And I'm sure you have the older version of our dockets. You'll be able to make that comparison. The first nominee for Finance and Economic Affairs is Mr. Charles Kerich. The second nominee for Innovation and the Digital Economy is Mr. Michael Gumo. The third nominee for Talent, Skills Development and Care is Mr. Brian Mulama. For Mobility and Works, because we want to get Nairobi moving, Move Nairobi, we have Mr. Patrick Mbogo. For the Built Environment and Urban Planning, we have Mr. Stephen Gadwita Mwangi. For the Boroughs, Administration and Personnel, I think as you all know, we are restructuring our level of devolution for service delivery better, to make it better to the people of Nairobi. So for Boroughs, Administration and Personnel, we have Mr. Ibrahim Auma Nyangoya. For Business and Hustler Opportunities, we have Ms. Rosemary Kariuki. That also is a new docket that is aimed at making Nairobi the financial and business hub of this continent and to find opportunities for our hustlers and business. So that as trade, it has markets, matters of hawkers will all be led by Ms. Rosemary Kariuki. The two sectors that we've just introduced, that is Boroughs, Administration and Personnel, of course, together with Business and Hustler Opportunities, as I said repeatedly during the campaigns, will report directly to the Deputy Governor, Mr. Njoroge Mushiri. The other dockets are Green Nairobi. This is what we used to call environment, water, energy, and all of that. The outcome area is a Green Nairobi. Nairobi used to be known as the Green City Under the Sun, and we want to bring it back. We have Ms. Maureen Njeri.
Now, a group of leaders from drought-affected areas have launched a campaign to collect foodstuffs and funds to support drought victims. The leaders, accompanied by politician Ruben Kigame, launched the campaign named Tumaini and asked well-wishers and governments to join hands in helping hundreds of drought victims.
Nitakuja katika sehemu tofauti tofauti za Kenya ili kuomba msaada wenu, sio kwangu ila ni kwa ndugu zetu na dada zetu, wazee wetu, watoto wetu ambao wanaangamia na mifugo yao inaangamia pia. Naomba kwamba serikali kupitia rais wetu William Ruto ikubali kwa haraka sana kuweza kutangaza kama janga la kitaifa yale yanayoendelea kule Northern Kenya.
In one of the centers in North Horr, a place called Ileret, early this year we lost 12 children in one center due to malnutrition. And it's a center which is run by MSF. It's a nutrition center run by MSF. 12 of them died.
To the government in particular, if it can be able to look at the possibility of, with immediate effect, sending relief for the school programs. We want the government to look into the possibility of food relief into the schools with immediate effect, because this one, in the next about 30-something days, chini ya siku 40, those children will not be able to sit the examination.
Dry foodstuffs wanaweza kapeleka katika kanisa zetu, assembly zetu kwa nchi yote ya Kenya. Unaweza ukapeleka ile ambayo iko karibu na wewe, na kwa wale ambao wanaweza taka kutuma pesa, unatuma kwa paybill number 6933 693371 693371. Account ni BOL ama Bread of Life.
And on that note, let us take our first break on Newswatch tonight. We have plenty more stories coming up after the break. Don't go too far.
This week on Testify.
There are days I would party and drink until about 6:30 a.m. and go straight to work. Yeah, because I didn't want to come home now, because now my dad would have so many questions.
Right.
So I would just go to work and then do a power nap on my desk until 8 a.m. when it was time to start working. So from July 2016 to February 2020, I was homeless on the streets of Kampala.
Wow.
Yes, about three and a half years.
On the streets?
Yes.
Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
The RAF is in Nairobi. The RAF is a chance to showcase your talent in music, dance, poetry, acrobatics, and many more, and stand a chance to win 500,000 Kenyan shillings, a recording deal at Hope Studios, and many more prizes. The RAF is a space for talented youth between the ages of 18 and 24 years. Auditions in Nairobi will be held on Thursday, 26th October 2022 at Situm Valley Road in Dennis White Hall from 8 a.m. To register, send an SMS starting with #TheRAF, your name, county, and talent to 22232 to get an invite to the auditions happening near you. For more information, please call 0709-861-223. Remember to carry a copy of your national ID to the auditions. The RAF, identifying talent, inspiring passion.
Welcome back. Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has presided over the swearing-in ceremony for various task forces she has formed to review county affairs. Among them include pending bills verification and audit task force, lands and houses verification task force, human resource audit task force, among others. Wavinya said the task forces will help investigate and interrogate the current state of Machakos County government and recommend the way forward and resolutions to enable the government work effectively.
The biggest war we have in Machakos County is about land. Tafadhali, endeni, mtengeneze, na muangalie, na recommendations. And I would recommend to you, as a task force, co-opt some of the members, maybe 1 or 2 members, who are in Saitoti task force, and also the Carones task force in 2016. There are 2 reports that talk very clearly about Machakos County. And when you look at Machakos County, don't look at Athi River alone. Machakos County is not Mavoko. Machakos County has got 8 sub-counties. We have got people who have surrendered public lands. The public lands have been taken. When will we ever build schools and hospitals? ICT, we have work to do. We have to secure our network. We cannot have people interfering with the county network. We need proper recommendations for implementation. There are a lot of things. Most of our financial transactions go through our ICT systems. If we do not secure them, what are we doing? We need to identify all our vehicles and where they are. Hata kama ni mbaya, irudishwe. Na hata tinga-tinga, we have different, even our hizo tinga-tinga, some of them, we want to know. That's why you have some mechanics in your task force. Is it worth repairing them? Is it worth disposing them? Following the law? We want proper recommendations. I want to tell you, as the governor of Machakos, I am not going to pay a pending bill unless muone kama kazi ilifanyika and if the procedures were followed. Unajua tunaweza kuwa tunalipa hewa tu. Si ndio? Tunaweza kuwa tunalipa hewa, but I know you have a qualified chairman there. Yeah, and the team that is there, I am sure that you're going to do a good job for Machakos County. I think we have close to 3 billion in pending bills. 3 billion, when will you ever do work for Machakos County?
The Institute of Human Resource Management, IHRM, is crying foul over arbitrary sackings of senior staff by incoming county governments without due procedure. The institute says the exercise is rampant among new governors, with the Human Resources Department being the most affected, a move they say is contrary to the employment and labor laws.
This came as the Institute says that it is keen to work with counties in auditing personnel and payrolls in the wake of report of hundreds of ghost workers. This emerged during the 26th annual IHRM conference in Naivasha, which has drawn over 1,000 professionals from different companies across the country. According to the IHRM, human resources are a key function for any county government to perform. He noted that some incoming county government have either sent home or on long leaves human resource personnel without the institute involvement.
There are serious challenges in recruitment. I know the first time governors want to reward their supporters who really campaigned for them. But again, the procedures must be followed. We must also be able to respect the law of our country.
Counties like Migori, Busia, Kisii, Wajir and Garissa, among others, had approached them for support in the audit.
I want to encourage our county governments that HR is key to the function of the county government. And before any action is taken, then we must be able to consult with the Institute of Human Resource Management, because that is the body which regulates all the HRs in Kenya.
On his part, Nakuru Deputy Governor David Coness welcomed the support from the Institute of Human Resource Management to counties, saying that the training and the capacity building for the staff would go a long way in addressing staff productivity in all departments. IHRM Executive Director Quresh Abdullahi called for concerted efforts among human resources personnel in addressing the current drought.
It's all on us to come up with those solutions, to innovate and come up with ideas on how can we better our society and how can we become food secure. It's possible if we put our minds together.
Dolly Marikimbuvi for Hope TV.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, short-statured society in Uasin Gishu has raised concerns of being neglected in the society. Speaking during the Short-Statured Day celebration in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, they accused the Kenya Kwanza government and previous governments for sidelining them, therefore demanding to get a portion of leadership, the leadership cake in the new government.
Education, unapata kwamba wengi wanawachwa, wengi bado wajepata hata ile basic education, wengi wameficha huko vijijini, na wengine pia wanapata upande ya kazi. Unaweza pata watu wamesoma lakini kwa sababu ya ile kimo wanaona wapata kazi nao. Na pia ya tatu ni pia upande ya health, unapata kwanza madaktari wengi wajasomea sana kuelewa shida za huyu mtu ambaye yako na Down. So tunaomba kwamba serikali zingatie ku train more health workers ambayo wanajua issues ambayo na challenges ambayo state part wanapitia from the reproduction issues na hata changamoto mingi. Tunataka niwaambie kwanza kwamba hii watu we call to throw a small containers with the full package. Hao ni watu ambao wanajiweza, wanajiamini na equally capable of doing everything. Wako na familia, wanaweza fanya kazi. What a normal person can do, a short stage can perform better. Yeah.
Wanawake wenye wanaishi na hali ya ufupi hawajakubalika sana katika jamii. Labda mwingine anaona ni kana kwamba hajakoma, ama mwingine anaona kama bado ni mtoto, na mwingine anadhani labda uzazi wake hauko normal kama wa wanawake wengine. Na hiyo inakuwa changamoto sana kwa sisi kupata wachumba. Na ukipata mchumba inakuwa tena ngumu kwake kukuintroduce kwao, kwa sababu swali ambayo utapata kutoka kwa wakwe ni maswali magumu sana. Sasa huyu ataweza kazi gani? Hawaoni capability yenye iko ndani yetu. Wanaona kwamba akikuoa ameleta tena mzigo kwa boma lake.
Residents of Maina village in the outskirts of Nyahururu town took to the streets on Wednesday morning to protest the stabbing of a woman by her husband. The residents have accused the security and administration agencies of laxity in responding to their cry for help. They say that the woman identified as Elizabeth or Alupe was stabbed in the early hours of Wednesday morning, and they had to carry her body using blankets to the hospital after the area chief and the police from a nearby police post alleged they did not have enough fuel to take her to hospital. The residents have said that insecurity has been on the rise in the area and frequent police patrols had reduced in the past few months.
Amekatwa na bwana yake na bado ako uhai. Mtu mmoja pikipiki akapiga simu kwa chief akamwambia hiyo ni police case ati waongoje, lakini huyu anahitaji usaidizi mpaka anasema nisaidieni. Sasa mimi nilikuwa mwenyewe kumtoa kwa nyumba, mimi siwezi ngojea mpaka akufe. Huyo mama ako na watoto wadogo, na hiyo watoto wadogo ndio waliamuka na wakaita mama mwingine, akaenda mpaka huko kwa polisi mpaka saa hii hiyo mama akibreed hakuna. Tumembeba na mkono hivi na blanketi mpaka huko karibu huko ndio tumesaidiwa na mtu.
Kenya kimefanyika ni mama mmoja ambaye alikuwa amekatakatwa na bwana yake, na Kenya tunasagaa ni bwana chifu, kwa sababu chifu wakati hiyo kitendo ilitendeka alipigiwa simu, na wakati alipigiwa simu hakushughulika na hiyo maneno. Mwingine mwenye msaidizi anamsaidia wakati aliambiwa kuna mama ambaye amekatakatwa na bwana yake, akasema awekee gari yake mafuta. Hiyo ni kitu ambaye hatutaki katika uongozi wa Maina. Sijui wanaona gishagi ya Maina ni kama binadamu hawakaagi mahali pale. Sasa tunataka haki itendeke na tunataka kusema hakuna security minor. Security hakuna minor hata kidogo.
She has some injuries to her left cheek, yeah, deep stab wound. We have actually done the first aid care, and now we are actually headed to theatre to do surgical toileting, yeah, and reconstruction. She's stable for now. That is why we're taking her to theatre urgently to go and be able to do further management of her in theatre.
Moving on, an estimated 2.5 million herds of livestock is said to have been lost as a result of the ongoing prolonged drought in the country. Livestock Principal Secretary Hari Kimutai says the government is looking for more markets to export livestock in order to reduce huge losses in the affected areas. The PS was speaking in Mombasa during the launch of livestock and dairy farmers production catalogs, said livestock farmers have been dealt a big blow through the loss of their livestock for the last 4 seasons. Livestock in 29 counties are facing shortage of pasture and water, and the piloting intervention program is supposed to begin in 14 arid and semi-arid counties.
We estimate to be about 2.5 million livestock that has been lost. But the rest, I think they are not in a very stable condition. Their body weight has really emaciated because of lack of pasture and also because of the movement of animals to long or far places to look for pasture and water. So you find we have animals, but their body condition, their body weight is not very good that it can, they can be able to dispose of. If they are disposing of, again, they don't make or they don't fetch the correct value for their animals. So it's really a big challenge, but with now such kind of interventions where we are able to get markets, and we are encouraging the regions that have good rainfall, especially the central and North Rift, where they're producing enough forage for their dairy cows. They also need to produce more so that they're able to sell to the pastoralist to sustain their beef animals. The government is already providing other interventions like the off-take program through the Kenya Meat Commission, and we're also encouraging our pastoralists to sell their livestock. We've partnered with the other developing other countries like the Gulf states, Oman, for example. They are now off-taking our animals. We are now selling live animals to Oman. So that's reducing the number of animals that we have in the country, in the sense that most of them are now struggling to feed, our farmers are now struggling to feed these animals.
Well, let us now cross our borders. The United Arab Emirates has reportedly banned nationals of 20 African countries from entering its capital city, Dubai. Countries affected by the visa ban include Uganda, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Sudan, Cameroon, Nigeria, Liberia, Burundi, Republic of Guinea, Gambia, Togo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Senegal, Benin, Ivory Coast, Congo, Rwanda, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Comoros, and the Dominican Republic. The notice indicated that they will not be posting 30 days visa applications for the nationalities effective October 18, 2022. The Dominican Republic is the only non-African nation on the list, and the reason for the ban is not yet clear. Now, heavy thunderstorms and hailstorms on Tuesday hit large parts of Greater Cairo, including the Egyptian capital, as well as several provinces. As a result, streets were flooded and traffic disrupted. When the densely populated capital is used to more than 200 days of sunshine a year, the Egyptian Meteorological Authority issued a warning of unstable weather conditions nationwide, according to the local media. A recent multi-agency report revealed that the number of climate and water-related disasters increased by a factor of 5 over the past 50 years. Sub-Saharan Africa has been particularly affected. Countries including South Sudan, Chad, Cameroon, and Nigeria are experiencing the worst droughts, the worst floods in decades. And the 8th Dakar International Forum on Peace and Security in Africa has come to an end in the Senegalese capital. The physical security of civilians in the African states was at the heart of the exchanges. The forum was held at the Abdou Diouf International Conference Center, CICAD. The foreign ministers of Senegal and Turkey took advantage of the second day to sign a cooperation agreement between the Antalya and Dakar International Forums.
On Hope Junction, every Saturday, get to enjoy songs that cater to the young and young at heart. Let the beat keep your head nodding.
Right now, what you love is amazing. We just
That's every Saturday on Hope Junction. From 10 a.m.
And now back to business. The Pan-African Housing Development Financier, Shelter Afrique, says it is developing a sovereign lending product to supplement its traditional products that attend to both the demand and supply sides of the housing value chain. Speaking in Nairobi after Afrique Managing Director Kingsley Muwawo said Africa's GDP contraction resulting from COVID-19 pandemic was an alarming sign of slump in the inclusive housing goals in many countries, and thus the need by the company to respond to the risk of a possible government's disengagement while revitalizing its financial agility. And in sports, KCB men's and women's volleyball teams have secured places in the semi-finals of the ongoing Kenya Institute of Bankers Interbank competition. The two teams will face Cooperative Bank on Friday at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies in Nairobi. The 36th edition of the Kenya Institute of Bankers competition will come to an end on Saturday at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies.
The way I'm assessing myself or maybe my team, they have done good. As now we're on the second round, we're in the semis, which will be on Friday. And everything is going right. Yeah, and I hope winning both semis for ladies and men. First of all, as a coach, I'm aiming to go through the semis. Then after the semifinals, that's when I'll think about the equity team.
The players are well prepared, and we are really anticipating for the match on Friday. We hope to come up with the best results possible. Our target actually is to go to the main finals, which is against, and we are expecting Equity to win the other semi-finals. So we were with them in the same pool. Of course, we lost to them 2-0, but we gave them a really tough competition. So we are expecting Friday as we face Cooperative Bank. We're going to win this match together as a team. Of course, we have to go ahead as KCB family.
And Kenya Sevens boss Damian McGrath has named the squad that will take part in the opening leg of this season's World Seven Series in Hong Kong. George Oro and Dennis Abukuse are in line for their debuts as Shujaa begin their 2022-2023 Seven World Series campaign next week at the Hong Kong Sevens. Nelson Oyo will captain the squad that will play out of Pool D alongside Argentina, Ireland, and Canada. Other members of the squad include Bush Mwale, Willie Ambaka, Billy Odhiambo, Johnston Olindi, Daniel Tabu, Edmund Anya, Anthony Omondi, Herman Humwa, and Kevin Wekesa. And we have come to the end of Newswatch this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. God willing, see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Have a good night and be blessed.